Very good morning to all.
Good morning.
Okay, this is the second practical of AB 11012. The practical title is Description of an Angiosperm Plant. Okay, so before starting the practical, please ensure that my voice and the slides are audible to each and everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what did you study in your previous practical?
Classification of monocote and dicote.
Classification, monocote and dicote.
I know about binomial nomenclature.
Okay. Okay. So this is your second practical description of an angiosperm plant. Okay. So how we can describe an angiosperm plant. Okay. So today's class we are going to discuss that one. Okay. Okay. So how to describe an angiosperm plant? So we can describe this angiosperm plant based on these aspects. Okay. The habitat, habit, roots, stem, leaves. Okay, those are some aspects we are used to describe an angiosperm plant. Okay, so in today's class, we are going to discuss about the habitat, habit, root, stem, and the leaves. Okay, so the following practical class, you will study about these inflorescence, flower, calyx, corolla, androsium. Okay, so do you know what is inflorescence?
Arrangement of flowers.
Okay, the arrangement of flowers. Okay, so the following practical class you will study this one. Okay, that calyx. Okay, calyx means the number of sepals. Okay, in a flower. Okay, corolla means number of petals. Androsium is the male part, the number of stamen. Gynosium is the female part, the number of carpels. Okay, you will study in your following practical. Okay, today we are going to discuss this, the bold one. Okay. Okay, so first aspects we are going to describe an angiosperm plant, that is the habitat. Okay, the habitat means the locality of the plant. Okay, locality means where the organism is living. Okay, where a living organism live or grow. Okay, that is known as habitat. Okay, so these habitats having the space for their growth as well as the water for their growth. Okay, they have adequate water and the space. Okay, so these habitat may be rainforest. Okay, some plants grow in the rainforest and some plants grow in the aquatic habitat. Okay, the ocean habitat. Some are grow in the freshwater habitat. Okay, habitat. Okay, those are the some examples of habitat. Okay, where that plant grow or lives. Okay, some plants prefer to grow in the desert. Okay, those are some examples of habitat, the locality of the plant. Okay. Okay, the second aspect, that is the habit. Okay, the first one is the habitat, the locality of the plant, where they are live. Okay, the second one is the habit. Habit means in the plant we are defining the overall shape and the overall appearance and the growth forms of the plant. Okay, so while we are describing the angiosperm plant based on the habit, then we can describe that plant overall shape and the appearance and the growth form. Okay, so under the habit we can describe the plant development and the branching pattern of that plant and length of the stem. Okay, the branching habit and the texture of this foliage. Okay, based on several habits we can describe. Okay, So under that, we can describe the plant as herbs, shrubs, or trees. Okay. Herbs mean they are the smallest one. Okay. Small and short. They are non-woody. Okay. They are soft stem. They have a soft stem, not a woody stem. Okay. So this plant we can uproot easily because they have a soft non-woody stem. Okay. And very short and smallest one. Okay. The examples are the grasses. Okay. The paddy. Okay. That is one of the example of the herb. Okay. So you have to note it the definition as well as the example in your notebook. Okay. While I am explaining, you have to note it down. Okay. So if I am fast, let me know. Okay. Then I will slowly tell. Okay. If you are not understand, then let me know. Okay. So whether am I fast? Okay. Okay. So first one is the herbs. The second category is the shrub. Okay. This is the medium type plant. Okay. Taller than these herbs and shorter than the tree. Okay. They are medium sized plant and bushy plant. Okay. They are looks like a bushy. Okay. They have branches. Okay. The herbs not having the branches, but shrub they having the branches. Okay. These branches at their base. Okay. The branches at the base. Okay. The examples are the rose and the lemon shrub. Okay. Those are the example of shrub. Okay. The third category is the tree. Okay. So they are the tallest plant. Okay. They have branches above ground. Okay. Above the ground, they have the branches. Okay. They have a strong woody stem. Okay. The shrub also having the woody stem. Okay. You should in a position to differentiate these three. Okay. The herbs, non-woody, and the shrubs and the trees are woody. Okay. The examples for the tree, you know, the mango tree, and those are the examples of tree. Okay. So did you got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the second category of this habit, we can describe a plant by their life cycle. Okay. The annual, biennial, or perennial. Okay. So the annual plant means plant that complete their life cycle within 1 year. Okay. Within 1 year, the plant complete their life cycle. Then that plant known as annual plant. Okay. Life cycle means from the germination to the production of seed. Okay. From germination to the production of seed, we are call it as a life cycle of that plant. Okay. So the plant that complete its life cycle within 1 year, that plant called as annual plant. Okay. The examples are the maize, rice, okay, weeds. Those are the annual plants. They complete their life cycle within 1 year. Okay. Biennial plant means plant that take 2 years to complete their life cycle. Okay. They take 2 years to complete their life cycle. The examples are the carrot and the leeks. Those are the examples of biennial plant. They take 2 years to complete their life cycle. Okay. The third one is the perennial plant. Okay. The perennial plant means that plant live more than 2 years. Okay. Perennial plants live more than 2 years. Okay, these mango and jaggery, those are the examples of this perennial. They live more than 2 years. Okay, this is based on the life cycle. We can describe a angiosperm plant. Okay. Okay, the third category, some special features are there. Okay, under the habit, some special features are there. So under the special features, there are 5 categories there. Okay, the parasite, epiphytes, mesophytes, and hydrophytes and xerophytes. Okay. So please note it down. Okay. Note it the examples and the definition of each type. Okay. Here I only put the pictures and the name of that special features. Okay. You have to note it down. Okay. Parasitic plant means plant living on the another plant. Okay. So one plant living on the another plant. Okay. That plant, call it as a host plant. Okay. The host plant for this parasitic plant. Okay. The plant living on the another plant for the nutrient. Okay. For obtaining the nutrient, they're living on the another plants. Okay. So these parasitic plant absorb the nutrient from the host plant. So that is not a beneficial interaction. Okay. Because they are absorb the nutrient from that plant. No? So that are parasitic. Okay. The harmful interaction. Okay. These parasitic plants may obtain the all nutrient from that plant or partial nutrient. Okay. The examples are the Cascuta and the Loranthus. Okay. Those are the parasitic plants. Okay. They live on the another plant to obtain the nutrient. Okay. The second one is the epiphytes. Okay. We also called as air plants. Okay. The epiphytic plants we also called as air plant. Okay. This plant also live on the another plant. Okay. That plants grow upon another plant for only support. Okay. They are not a parasitic plant. Okay. They are living on the another plant only for the support. Okay. For the physical support, they are live on the another plant. Okay. They may grown on the object. Okay. Object or plant for their support. These plants not have the attachment to the ground. Okay. They attach to the another plant and growing from that plant. Only for the support, they grown on the another plant. Okay. That is called as epiphytic plant. Okay. Or air plant. The examples are the orchid, mosses. Okay. Those are the examples of epiphytes. Orchids, lichens, mosses. Okay. Those are the examples of epiphytes. The third one is the mesophytic plants. Okay. Mesophytic plants mean these neither adapted for the dry condition. No, they are adapted for the wet condition. Okay. They can live in the average temperature and the water level. Okay. So this plant can adjust to live in the both conditions. Okay. The partially dry condition as well as partially wet condition. Okay. examples are the mango, guava. Okay, when it is high wet condition, they can live. Okay, when it is dry, then they live. Okay, they can adjust. That plants we call it as a mesophytes. The fourth category is the hydrophytic plants. Okay, these are the aquatic plants. Okay, they are adapted to live in the aquatic habitat. Okay, these plants adapted to live in the aquatic habitat. These plants may be submerged in the water or they can remain under the water. Okay, they may be submerged or remain under the water. The examples are the hydrilla, lotus, balsinaria. Okay, those are the examples of hydrophytes. Okay, the last category is the xerophytes. Okay, xerophytes mean these plants adapted to live in the dry conditions. Okay, they are adapted to live in the dry condition. Okay, very little amount of water they can live. Okay, so that they have some adaptation to prevent the water loss. Okay, the example are the cactus, pineapple, aloe vera. Okay, those are the examples of xerophytes. Okay, so did you got these special features of under the habit?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have any doubt, let me know. Okay, I will explain again. If you have doubts, then you can leave a comment also. Okay, I will explain.
Ma'am, can you tell again xerophytes examples?
Okay, the pineapple, cactus, aloe vera, opuntia. Okay, those plants come under the xerophytes.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
The parasites. Parasitic plant mean they are live on the another plant. Okay, they are live on the another plant. That plant we call it as a host plant. Okay, so these parasitic plant absorb the nutrient from that host plant. Okay, so that is a harmful interaction. No, they absorb the nutrient from that plant. Okay, not the beneficial interaction. Okay, that is harmful because they absorb the nutrient without any benefit to the host plant. Okay, the examples are the Loranthus and the Ascuta. Okay, the second one is the epiphyte. Okay, this is also be called as a air plant. Okay, they also live on the another plants. Okay, this plant grown upon the another plant or object. Okay, for their physical support only they are live on the another plant. Okay, because these plants not attached to the ground. Okay, they can grow from these plant. Okay, not attached to the soil. Okay, the ground. Okay, but they are not absorbing the nutrient from that plant. Okay, they are not parasitic. Only for the physical support they live on the another plant. Okay, they can absorb the nutrient from the environment. Okay, they can absorb the moisture and the nutrient from the environment, not that host plant. Okay, for their living they absorb the nutrient from the environment. Okay, so that they have some modification. Okay, we will study the next slide. Okay, what are the modifications there? Okay, the third category is the mesophytes. Mesophytes mean this plant adapted to live in the particularly wet condition as well as the particularly dry condition. Okay, if it is dry condition, then the plant live. If it is wet condition, then That time also the plant can live. They can adapt it for the partially dry and the partially wet condition. Okay, that plants we called as a mesophyte. The mango, guava. Okay, those are the examples of mesophytic plants. Hydrophytic plants mean they are aquatic plants. Okay, they adapted to live in the aquatic environment. Okay, either fresh water or ocean. Okay, the salt water or fresh water, they can adapted to live in the aquatic habit. Okay, they may be submerged or remain under the water. Okay, the examples are the lotus, hydrilla, vallisneria. Okay, those are the examples. And the last category is the xerophytes. Okay, the plants adapted to live in the dry condition. Okay, so in the dry condition, there is a small amount of water is there, no? So they have some modification to prevent the water loss from the plant. Okay, the examples are the aloe vera, cactus. Okay, pineapple. Those are the xerophytic plants. Okay, did you got it? Shall I move?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So when you are describing a plant, you should know the part of the plant. Okay. Then only you are going to describe a plant based on the stem and the root and the flower. Okay. So before that, you should know the parts of the plant. Okay. So the parts of plant, there is a above ground part as well as the below ground parts. Okay, the below ground part is the root system. Okay, so as you all know in your previous class, you already studied that, no? The taproot root and the fibrous root. Okay, so here this is the dicotyledon plant. So the taproot root. Okay, from this taproot root, the lateral branches. Okay, that is called as the lateral roots. Okay, you should know the parts of a plant. Okay, so the above ground, the flower, stem, leaves. Okay, those are the parts of the plant. Okay, so here in the leaves, you can see the two parts are there, the petiole and the blade. Okay, petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Okay, the stalk of the leaf, we call it as a petiole. Okay, that will connect the leaf blade and blade to the stem. Okay, this stalk will connect the leaf blade to the stem. Leaf blade means the broader part of the leaf. Okay, the broader part of the leaf, we call it as a leaf blade or leaf lamina. Okay, so this about the leaf. And here the node and the internode. Okay, nodes means nodes are the region where the leaves or branches emerge from the stem. Okay, these are the regions from the leaves or twigs. Okay, twigs mean the small branches. Okay, these small branches emerge from the stem. That region is called as node. Okay, internode means the region between the two successive nodes, we call it as the internode. Okay, the region between the two successive nodes, that is called as internode. Okay, so other than that, here the terminal bud and the axillary buds are there. Okay, terminal bud we also called as apical bud. Okay, terminal bud means they are occurs at the end of the stem. Okay, normally these terminal buds are occurs at the end. Okay, the terminal part of the stem they are occur. The apex, the terminal buds or apical buds are occur. Okay, that's why this bud is called as a terminal buds because they occur in the terminal part of the stem. Okay, these are the active buds. Okay, And the axillary bud is there, another one. Okay, that is the that axillary bud are not the active bud. Okay, these axillary buds lies between the stem and the petiole of the leaf. Okay, at the leaf node part, okay, the leaf node part, these axillary buds are formed. Okay, the axillary buds are formed at the junction of the stem and the petiole of the plant. These axillary buds are formed. They are not the active buds. Okay, but the terminal buds are formed in the apical region of this stem. That's why they are called it as a terminal bud or apical bud. This axillary bud, we are call it as a lateral bud. Okay. So do you have any doubts of this part of plant? Okay. So next, so up to now, we studied about the habitat and the habit of the plant. Okay. How we can describe these plants based on the habitat and the habit. Okay. The next, we can describe the plant by the roots. Okay. So as you all know, the roots may the tapped root or fibrous root or adventitious root. Okay. Tapped root. So can anyone tell? You already studied, no? So tapped root mean what? Tapped root. So in your previous practical class, you already studied, no? The tapped root and the fibrous root.
They are the roots of dicots.
Okay. The fibrous root.
They are the roots of monocot.
Okay, good. Okay. The tapped root. They are the main root of the primary root system. Okay. Okay. The main root of the primary root system, they are commonly grow vertically. Okay. That is the tapped root. Fibrous root mean that has not a prominent central axis. They have a branches of root in the all direction. Okay. They have the branches of root in the all direction. Okay. So here the another root is there, that is the adventitious root. Okay. Adventitious root means that arise from the organ other than the root. Okay. The roots are emerging from the other part of the plant. Okay. They may be emerge from the stem or they may be emerge from the leaves. Okay. The roots we are call it as an adventitious root. Okay. The roots that arise from the organs except root. Okay. Other than the root, these roots are emerged from the leaves or stem. We call it as an adventitious root. Okay. Okay. The second category, we can describe the plant. If the root have branched, then that root is branched root. Okay. If the root not have the branch, then that root is called as unbranched root. Okay. Okay. Same as the habit, here also some modifications are there. Okay. The root modified for several purposes. Okay. So I will explain these all modification. So you have to note it down. Okay. So the meaning of that modification and the examples. Okay, note it in your notebook. Okay, so here the modification. Okay, the root is modified for the other function. Okay, so as you all know, the fibrous root. Okay, here the fibrous root modified to accumulate the food prepared by the plants. Okay, these fibrous root accumulate the food prepared by this plant, and these food stored in the roots. Okay, that is the modification of fibrous root. Okay, here the accumulated food prepared by the plant stored in the fibrous root. Okay, the example is the sweet potato. Okay, okay, the second one. Okay, the prop root. Okay, these prop root are modified root that arise from the stem of the certain plants. Okay, they are arise from the stem. Okay, the main stem, they are arise from the main stem. Okay, so then this root call it as the root arise from this stem. How we call these roots? Can anyone? The common name for the
Adventitious.
very good. Okay, the adventitious root. Okay, the prop root is one of the adventitious root because they are emerging from the stem. Okay, so here these modified roots are arise from the stem of the certain plants. They have the prop root. Okay, not all the plants. Some plants having this prop root, they are emerging from the main stem. Okay, this root provide the extra support to the plants. Okay, some plants need extra support. Okay, normally the roots providing the support for the plants, but some plants need the extra support. Okay, so that the roots are emerged from the stem of that plant and they can hanging down. Okay, from the stem they are hanging down and penetrate into the soil, and thereby they support that plant. Okay, they are hanging down and penetrate into the ground so that they are supporting the plant. Okay, that is called as a prop root. Okay, the example is the in the maize plant we can observe this prop root. Okay, the maize plant means the corn plant. Okay, in that plant we call it as a stilt root. Okay, STILT. Okay, we call it as a stilt root. Okay, the stilt root is one of the prop root in the maize plant. In the maize plant, the prop root we are call it as a stilt root. Okay, you will study while you are studying the family. Then you have to detail study this stilt root. Okay. The another example for the prop root is the rubbery. Okay. Okay. The next root modification, that is the aerial root. Okay. Aerial root. This root is one of the modification and they are above the ground level. Okay. In the picture you can see the roots are formed from above the ground level. Okay, this also one of the adventitious root because above the ground level the roots are formed. No, so this is one of the adventitious roots that grow on the above ground part of the plant. Okay, the roots grow on the above ground part of the plant. We call it as a aerial root. Okay. The function of this root, commonly they anchor the plant. Okay, they anchor the plant on the ground and they are sticking. Affixing mean they are sticking the plant to the object. Okay. They are affixing the plant to the support. Okay. Affixing mean they are stick the plant to the support. Okay. And in some plants, these aerial roots absorb the moisture and the nutrient from the environment. Okay. I already told no, in the epiphytes, they are get the nutrient from the atmosphere of absorbing this moisture and the nutrient from the air. Okay. That epiphytes having these aerial roots. Okay. To absorb the nutrient and the moisture from the environment. Okay, so the example for the aerial root also you can write the orchids. Okay, and the fiscus tree. You observe no, the fiscus tree they have a aerial root. Okay, the function they anchor the plant and supporting the plant. Okay, they fix the plant to the surface or supporting structure. In some plants, they absorb the nutrient and the moisture from the environment. Okay, the examples are the orchids and the fiscus. Okay, okay. The next modification, respiratory roots. Okay, we also call it as a pneumatophores. Okay, the respiratory roots we also call it as a pneumatophores or breathing root. Okay, this is also one of the modification of the root. Here the roots are come out. Okay, these roots are come out vertically upward. Okay, the roots come out vertically upward to get the oxygen. Okay, these soils have poor aerated conditions. Okay, so when the soil has poor aerated condition, then that plant need the oxygen. No, so this is the modification. Here the roots are emerge vertically upward. Okay, normally the roots are grow based on the gravitational force. No, the downward habit they are growing. So here the vertical habit. Okay, the respiratory roots are vertically upward growing. Okay, to get the oxygen for their respiration. For their respiration, they need the oxygen. No, so these respiratory roots have some holes. Okay, they have some holes. That holes we call it as a lenticles. Okay, so that holes, the air can be go through to the root tissue. Okay, so that the plant get the oxygen. Okay, okay. The examples are the sweet potato, mangrove. Okay, those are the carrot. Okay, those are the examples of these respiratory roots. Okay, the another root is the knee root. Okay, this is one of the respiratory root. Okay, this also come out from the ground, no, but there is a loop-like structure is there. You can observe in the picture. Okay, there is a root loop is there. Okay, so they also the function is exchange of gases. Okay, the ideal example of this knee root found in the mangrove. Okay, there looks like a human knee. Okay, that's why the name call it as a knee root. Okay. Okay, the next category is the climbing root. Okay, this also one of the advantageous root. The roots are arise from the node and the internode parts. Okay, the roots are arise from the node and the internode part of the big stem. Okay, some stem having the weak texture, no? So that stem from the node and the internode part, the roots are emerging. Okay, that roots help to climb into the support. Okay, that root we call it as a climbing root. The money plant, the ideal example is the money plant. Okay, okay. So next root is the conical root. Okay, conical root, the ideal example is the carrot. Okay, so conical root mean they have the root tube having the conical structure. Conical structure mean they are widened at the top and tapering towards the end. Okay, wide at the top and tapering towards the bottom. Okay, that structure we call it as a conical. Okay, that's why this root is in the spindle shape. Okay, spindle shape mean they are tapers at the top as well as the bottom. Okay, they are tapers at the end and the top. Okay, like a spindle shape. The ideal example is the radish. Okay, okay. Napiform root means this root very broad at the top. Okay, they very broad at the top. Then they are tapering suddenly as a tail at the bottom. Okay, very broad at the top and they are tapering they have a swollen spherical shape at the upper end. Okay, the upper end they have a swollen spherical shape. Immediately when it's reached the tail, it's look very tapering. Okay, and the next one is the tuberous root. Okay, this is the thick root. Okay, this storage root. Okay, this root is modified for the storage. Okay, they enlarge to store the food. Okay, the example is the manioc. Okay, cassava. Okay, and the sweet potato. Okay, the next root, that is the nodulated root. Nodulated root means some plants having the bed-like structure. Bed-like structure means the rounded structure branches, they are growing along the ground. Okay, and from the node part, they rooted. Okay, the roots are formed in the node region. Okay, the third category is the twining stem. Okay, twining stem, we call it as a twisted stem. Okay, this also herbaceous woody stem. Okay, stem. Okay, climbing stem. This is the long slender stem. Okay, that's climb the support by using tendrils. Okay, some thread-like structures form in the plants. That is, we call it as a tendrils. Okay, by using the tendrils or spines or adventitious root, they can climbing in the support. Okay, so the twinning stem, they are only twisted their stem and climbing, but in the climbing stem, this stem using some spines, adventitious root and tendrils for the attachment to the support. Okay, by attachment to the support, they can climb. Okay, tendrils mean the thread-like appearance found in some plants. Okay, okay, if the climbing, then there are some mode of climbings are there. Okay, they may be leaf tendrils, leaflet tendrils, and stem tendrils, and stipular tendrils, or by hooks. Okay, leaf tendrils mean in some plants leaf modified as a tendrils. Okay, okay, leaflet tendrils mean the modification of the terminal leaflet. Okay, stem tendrils mean some stem modified as the tendrils. Stipular tendril means the stipule found in the leaves, they are modified as tendrils. Okay, stipule, we will study the next slide. Okay, what is stipule? Okay, and some plant having the hooks. Okay, the bended structures. That structure will support that plant to the that support. Okay, those are the mode of climbings. Okay, so is it okay? Yes. They have a, yeah, the erect stem mean they have a vertical upright growth. Okay, they can grow vertically upright. Okay, the picture you can see above ground, they are vertically grow. Okay, the normal trees, the mango and other, most of the plant having this erect stem. Okay, they are vertically growing. Prostrate mean they are creep on the ground. Okay, they are growing along the ground. Okay, not the erect habit. Okay, they are horizontally along the ground. They are growing. Twinning stem mean they are twisted their stem and climbing. Climbing stem mean the twinning and the climbing are somewhat same, but in the twinning stem they are twisted their stem and climbing for a height. But in the climbing stem they use some structures. Okay, adventitious root or tendrils or spines. They can climb by the support. Okay, is it okay? Okay. Okay, this is the stem picture. Okay, you can clearly see the node and the internodes. Okay, the region between two successive nodes, we call it as the internode. Okay, okay, next the special modification. Okay, the special modification of the stem. Okay, before we study the special modification of roots. Okay, same as the stem also have some modification. Okay, the modification, the first one is the rhizome. Okay, rhizome. This is the modified stem. They are underground. Okay, the underground stem, they are grow horizontally. Okay, under the ground they are grow horizontally, and they have nodes and the internodes. Okay, the ideal example is the ginger, turmeric, alocasia. Okay, those are the examples of rhizome. Okay, the underground stem modification that grow horizontally. Okay, that is we call it as a rhizome. Okay, the comb. Okay, the next one is the comb. That is same as this rhizome. Okay, they also the underground stem modification, but they are grow vertical direction. Okay, rhizomes are grow horizontally, but these combs are grow vertically. Okay, the condensed form of these rhizomes. Okay, that is combs. They are grow vertically, and they also have nodes and the internodes. Okay, the example is the colocasia. Okay, the next one is the bulb. Okay, some plants have the rounded underground storage. Okay, they have some rounded underground storage organ. That also one of the modification of the stem. Okay, this having the short stem, they are surrounded with the fleshy scale leaves. Okay, the example is the onion and the garlic. Okay, and these also having the adventitious root. Okay, these roots are arising from the stem, no, so that having the adventitious root. Okay, the next one is the tuber. Okay, that also modification of the stem. Okay, they are specialized for the storage. Okay, they store the starch. Okay, this stem modified for the storage of starch. Okay, the example is the potato. Okay, the example for the tuber stem modification, that is potato. Okay. Okay, the next stem modification is the offset. Okay, this is the these four are the underground stem modification. Okay, the offset are the subaerial stem modification. Okay, here they have only one internode. In the picture you can see the offset. Okay, they have only one internode. Okay, that is shown. Okay, these internodes are arise from the leaf axil. Okay, from the base of this leaf axil, these offsets are arise. Okay, then these internodes are grow horizontally. Okay, they grow little horizontally, and they then produce the rosetle of leaves. Rosetle of leaves mean the circular arrangement of leaves they are producing. Okay, in the above ground part, they are producing the circular arrangement of leaves. In the below ground part, they form the adventitious root. Okay, that is called as a offset. Okay, the examples are the Pistia, Igonia. Okay, those plants forming this offset. Okay, this is the subaerial stem modification. These they have only one internode. Okay, these internode form from the leaf base of this leaf axis. So this internode horizontally grow a little, then form a rosetle of leaves and as well as the adventitious root. Okay, the examples are the Pistia and the Igonia. Okay, The next one is the stolon. Okay, this is the weak one. Okay, here the weak lateral growth. Okay, the lateral branch is weak. Okay, that is arise from the base of the stem. Okay, this lateral branches arise from the base of this stem. Okay, this plant after growing okay, these plants peak lateral branch that arise from the base of the stem. Okay, base of the stem of the main stem. Okay, from the base of this main stem, these lateral branches are emerge. Okay, then these lateral branches are aerially growing for some times. Okay, they are aerially growing, then bend downward. Okay, then bend downward to touch the ground. Okay, they touch the ground at the time the terminal bud. Okay, the terminal bud give rise to the new plant. Okay, so the new shoot is emerging from this terminal bud. Okay, those are the active buds, no? So they produce the shoot. Okay, so below ground they produce the adventitious root. Okay, that is the stolon. Okay, the examples are the jasmine, balsinaria, colocasia. Okay, those are the examples of stolon. Okay, stolons are the weak lateral branches that are emerged from the base of the main stem. Okay, these branches grow. Okay, they grow aerially, then bend downward, and at the time this terminal bud producing the new shoot. Okay, that is the stolon. Okay, next one is the runners. Okay, runners is the type of stolon. Okay, the one type of stolon that is runner, but here these lateral branches run above the ground and produce the new colons. Okay, these branches run above the ground and producing the new colon plants. Okay, here the every nodes they are producing the new colon. Okay, so at a varying interval they can producing the new colon. Okay, each node they are producing the new colon. Colon mean new shoot. Okay, the example is the strawberries. Okay, the runners, strawberries. The next one is the suckers. Okay, suckers. So this also arise from the base of the underground part. Okay, the base of the underground part, these suckers are emerged. Okay, these underground parts are grow horizontally for a distance under the ground. Okay, these it grow horizontally for a distance under the soil. Okay, then that emerge at an angle above the ground. Okay, that is called as suckers. The example is the banana. Okay, banana producing the suckers. Okay, these suckers are the stem modification, and this arise from the basal underground part of the main stem. Okay, the basal underground part of the main stem, these suckers are formed. Okay, so these suckers grow horizontally for a distance. So they are under the ground, they are grow horizontally. Then they emerge upward. Okay, from that the new plant will produce. Okay, the example is the banana suckers. Okay, the next stem modification is the phylocolate. Okay, this phylocolate is one of the stem modification here to increase their photosynthetic capacity. Okay, they carry out their photosynthetic. These stems are modified as a phylocolate. Okay, and this phylocolate will provide the support and the survival for that plant. Okay, for increase their photosynthetic capacity. Okay, the carrying out their photosynthesis, the stem modified for the phylocolate. Okay, those are the modification of the stem. Okay, so did you get that one? The modifications. Do you have any doubts regarding this modification of stem? Okay, these root modification and the stem modification are somewhat important. Okay. Shall I move to the next?
Ma'am, please explain the phylocolate that one. Last one. Phylocolate that one. Please explain that.
Okay. Here the stem. Okay, stem that modified to do the photosynthesis. Okay. Normally the leaves are doing the photosynthesis. No. Here the stem modified for carrying out the photosynthesis. That stem we call it as a phylocolate. That is the one of the modification. Stem modified to carry out the photosynthesis. Okay. So increase their photosynthetic capacity. The stems are modified. Okay. That stem doing the photosynthesis. For the survival of that plant, they modified as a phylocolate. Okay. This phylocolate you can see in the cactus, prickly pear. Okay, those plant stem we call it as a phylocolate. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So then next category, the branched or unbranched. Okay. If the stem have branched, then that is branched stem. If the stem not having the branch, then that is unbranched stem. Okay. Okay. So next we can describe based on the stem, the texture of the stem. Okay. Texture means the surface quality. Okay. The stem surface quality, we call it as a texture. Okay. Regarding the size and the shape of the stem. Okay. We can describe the stem regarding the size and the shape. That surface quality, we call it as a texture. Okay. So the texture may be herbaceous or woody. Okay. Herbaceous mean they are soft stem. Okay. They are not non-woody. Okay. But woody, they have some hard texture. Okay. And another category is the solid stem or fistular stem. Okay. Fistular stem means if the internodes, okay, the region between the two nodes, okay, the internodes is hollow, okay. The internode of the plant is hollow. Hollow means empty, okay. There is a hole. The empty hole is present inside the stem. Okay. The internode of the plants are hollow. Then that plant we call it as a fistular stem plant. Okay. Okay. The examples are the grasses. Okay. The stems are hollow. Okay. Solid stem mean if the stem is not hollow, okay, they are solid. Then that stem we call it as a solid. Okay. There is no empty. Okay. The stem is not hollow at the internode. We call it as a solid stem. Okay. The examples are that sugar cane. Okay. Those are the solid stem. Okay. The next category, cylindrical stem or angular flattened stem or stent may be reduced. Okay. Cylindrical stem mean we call it as a terete. Okay. Cylindrical stem mean the stem straight and round stem. Okay. The bamboo. You can see the straight and rounded stem. We call it as a cylindrical stem. Okay. Angular flattened mean the another category is there, that is the angular stem. Okay. Angular stem means that is not a round stem. Okay. The second picture, okay, that show the angular flattened. Okay. Angular stem mean that not the round. Okay. The cross section not the round. They have ridge and furrows. Okay. Some ridges and the furrows are there in the stem. Okay. So this angular stem may be flattened or angled. Okay. They further divided into flattened or angled. Okay. That's why this stem we call it as an angular flattened. They are not the rounded stem at their cross section. Okay. They have ridge and furrows. Okay. Reduced stem mean in some plants stem are reduced. Okay. They reduce to small disc-like structure. Okay. So in that case, we cannot distinguish the node and the internode. Okay. The stem reduced as a disc. Okay. In that case, we can describe this plant stem, the cylindrical, angular flattened or reduced. Okay. Okay. So the next category is the texture. Okay. The texture of this stem. Okay. Some stem having the hairs. Okay. Hair like outgrowth found in the stem. Okay. That stem we call it as a hairy stem. Okay. To reduce the water loss. Okay. Prevent the plant from the evaporation. Some plant having the hairs, no? So that stem we call it as a hairy stem. Okay. The next category, the glabrous stem. Okay. Glabrous mean without any hairs. Okay. They are smooth stem. Okay. Waxy stem means stem is covered with waxy coverings. Okay. And spiny stem, they have spine-like structures on the stem. Okay. And color. Okay. Based on the color also we can describe the plant stem. Okay. The color may be green or gray. Okay. So that's all about this stem. Okay. So do you have any doubts regarding this stem? Based on the stem, how we can describe an angiosperm plant? Do you have any doubts or clarifications? Shall I move to the next?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so up to now, we discussed about the stem. Okay, now we move to the leaf. Okay, so by using this leaf, how we can describe a angiosperm plant. Okay, so under the leaf, the insertion. Okay, insertion means the angle and the orientation of the plane of the leaves. Okay, normally the leaves are arranged in a plane in the plant. No, so this plane with respect to the stem. Okay, how these leaves are angled and orientation in that leaf plane. We call it as a insertion. Okay, the angle and the orientation of the plane of leaves with respect to the stem, we call it as a insertion. Okay, how these leaves are angled or arranged in the leaf plane with respect to the stem, we call it as an insertion. Okay, under the insertion there are three types of leaves are there. Okay, the radical, colline and the ramal. Okay, okay, radical means these leaves are arise from the base of the stem. Okay, these leaves are arise from the base of the stem. Okay, or they can arise from the below ground part. Okay, these leaves are generally arranged in a basal rosette. Okay, rosette means they can arranged in a circular manner. Okay, that leaves we call it as a radical. Okay, these radical leaves are arise from the base of the stem or below the ground part. They are arranged in a circular manner. Okay, that leaves we call it as a radical. The examples are the aloe vera, carrot, radish. Okay, those are the examples of radical leaves. Okay, these leaves are emerged from the underground part or base of the stem. They are arising. Okay, the next one is the colline. Okay, in the colline leaves, the leaves are attached to the above ground stem. Okay, here the leaves are attached to the above ground stem, and these leaves are directly attached to the stem. Okay, they have no petioles. Okay, the leaves are directly attached to the stem. Okay, the leaf blade is directly attached to the stem. There is no petiole. Okay, that leaf we are call it as a sessile leaf. Absence of petiole, we call it as a sessile. Okay, next slide we will study these petiole and the sessile leaves. Okay, now you only remember that the colline leaves are directly attached to the stem. Okay, they have no petioles. Okay, okay, they are attached to the above ground stem. Okay, ramal leaf means the leaves are found on the note of the branches. Okay, where the notes are present on the branches or sub branches, the leaves are present. Okay, the every notes having the leaves. Okay, the mango leaves. Okay, that is the example. The ramal leaves. Okay, that is the leaf insertion. Okay, next we move to the leaf arrangement. Okay, so phyllotaxy. Okay, we call it as the arrangement of leaf. Okay, the arrangement of leaf on a stem, we call it as a phyllotaxy. Okay, you should know what is phyllotaxy. Okay, phyllotaxy means the arrangement of leaves on a stem. Okay, the phyllotaxy, to increase the photosynthetic ability, the leaves are arranged in a certain manner on the stem. Okay, the arrangement of leaf on a stem, we call it as a phyllotaxy. Okay, to increase the photosynthetic ability. Okay, so to increase the photosynthetic ability, there are three major leaf arrangements are there. Okay, the alternate leaf arrangement, opposite leaf arrangement, and whole leaf arrangement. Okay, alternate leaf arrangement means a single leaf arises from the node of a branch. Okay, a single leaf arise from the node of the plant, okay, or stem. Okay, the node having the only one leaves. Okay, but in the opposite arrangement, the node having two leaves. Okay, two leaves are arise from the node of the plant in the opposite manner. Okay, two leaves are emerge from the node in the opposite manner. We call it as a opposite leaf arrangement. In the alternate leaf arrangement, one leaf is emerged from the node. Okay, they are arranged in an alternate manner. Okay, so under the opposite leaf arrangement, there is two types there. Okay, the opposite discussed state and opposite superposed. Okay, the opposite discussed state means these opposite leaves are attached at right angle to the adjacent pair. Okay, the opposite pair, the one opposite pair attach right angle to the adjacent pair. Okay, that we call it as a opposite discussed state. Okay, the example is the calotropis. Okay, the calotropis plant is the example for the opposite discussed state. Okay, the next category is the opposite superposed. Okay, the opposite superposed means here the opposite leaves are not right angle to the adjacent pair. Okay, they are lies exactly above that opposite leaves. Okay, there is no right angle. Okay, they are lies exactly above those opposite pair. Okay, the examples is the guava. Okay, opposite superposed. The example is the guava. Okay, there is no right angle. Okay, they are lies exactly above that pair. Okay, that is the two types of opposite leaf arrangement. Okay, the third one is the whole leaf arrangement. Okay, in this arrangement, three or more equally spaced leaves are at a one node. Okay, from the one node, three or more leaves they are emerge. Okay, they are equally spaced. Okay, that arrangement we call it as a hold. Okay, okay, leaf arrangement. Is it okay?
Ma'am, can you explain the last one?
Whole. Okay, in this arrangement, okay, three or more equally spaced leaves are emerge from the node. Okay, from the one node, three or more leaves are arising. Okay, the example, the ocimum. Okay, that plant, they show these whole three or more leaves arise from the one node. Okay, they are equally spaced. They are arranged in a whole manner. Okay. Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Next category, we can describe the leaf petiolate, sessile, or subsessile. Okay. Petiolate, the stalk. Petiole means the stalk of the leaf. Okay. The stalk of the leaf. Okay. Leaf having the petiole, then that leaf is called as a petiolate leaf. Okay. Leaf having the petiole or leaf stalk, then that leaf is, we call it as a petiole. Okay, the function of this petiole that attach the leaf blade to the stem. Okay, sessile mean here there is no petiole. Okay, the leaf blade is directly attached to the stem. Okay, this leaf blade directly attached to the stem. we call it as a sessile leaf. Okay. The another category is there, that is the subsessile. Okay. That is not the complete sessile one. Okay. That have very short petiole. Okay. Not a complete sessile one. They have very short petiole. Okay. That's why they call it as a subsessile. Okay. And the another category, that is the stipulate. Okay. Stipulate or exstipulate. Okay. In the picture, you can see what is stipule. Okay. Stipule means the outgrowth. Okay. The outgrowth. This is typically born at the base of the leaf. Okay. The both side of the leaf base, they are forming. Okay. They are the pair of outgrowth. Okay. These stipules are born on the both side of the base of the leaf petiole. Okay. Base of the leaf petiole, they born. They are the one of the outgrowth. We call it as a stipule. Okay. So if the leaf having these outgrowth at the bottom of this petiole, then that leaf we call it as a stipulate leaf. Okay. If the leaf not having these stipule, then we call it as the exstipulate leaf. Okay. If the leaf having the stipule, then this stipule may leafy or spiny or tendrils or petiole. Okay. This stipule further modified as a leafy. Okay. The leaf may be modified as a stipule. Okay. Some stipule modifies as a spine structure. Okay. Some modified as a tendrils. Okay. The thread-like structure that's supporting the climbing of this plant. Okay. That also one of the stipule structure. Okay. And next one is the petiole. Okay. It looks like a petiole. Okay. Okay, the next category based on the leaf base. Okay. Leaf base may be sheathing connects or amblyxicole. Okay. Sheathing means here the leaf base. Okay. The leaf base, the petiole. Okay. Here the petiole, we call it as a leaf base. Okay. Here the leaf base is broad and surround the stem as an envelope. Okay. Here the petiole. Okay. The leaf base is broad, somewhat broad, and they are surround the stem as an envelope. Okay. That stem, okay, that leaf, we are call it as a sheathing leaf base. Okay. Leaf sheath. Okay. The another one is the amblyxicole. Okay. Here the leaf with sessile. Okay. These leaves are directly attached to the stem. Okay. Without petiole, these leaves are attached and cover the stem. Okay. By means of stipule. Okay. They can cover. Okay. That base we call it as a amblyxicole. This amblyxicole leaf base B, they are attached directly to the stem. Okay, without stipule, they are attached directly and covering the stem. Okay, that is called as a amblyxicole leaf base. In the picture, you can see they are covering the stem. No, okay, that is the amblyxicole. Okay, the next category, kind of the leaf. Okay, kind of the leaf we can divided these into simple leaf and the compound leaf. Okay. Simple leaf mean they are the single leaf. Okay. Single leaf that never divided into small leaflets. Okay. They are not divided into smaller leaflets units. Okay. They are simple leaf, always attached with the petiole. Okay. That is called as a simple leaf. The second category is the compound leaf. Okay. Here, the whole leaflets, okay, they are divided into leaflets. In the picture, you can see that each one is called as leaflet, okay. These whole leaflets are attached to the middle of the vein, okay. They are attached to the middle vein by their own petiole, okay. That leaves, we call it as a compound leaves. They have leaflets. The leaves divided into several leaflets. Then that leaflets attached to the main vein by using their petiole. That leaf, we call it as a compound leaf. Okay, simple leaf means they are not divided into leaflets. Only the single leaf, we call it as a simple leaf. Okay. Okay, we already studied that we can divide it into simple leaf and the compound leaf. Okay. Under the compound leaf, we can further divide this compound leaf into pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Okay, there are two categories of these compound leaves, pinnately compound and palmately compound. Okay. Under the pinnately compound leaf, we further divide it into junipinnate, bipinnate, and tripinnate. Okay. Okay. Pinnately compound leaf means the leaf which divided into small leaflets. Those leaflets are arranged on each side of the leaf central stalk. Okay. Here, this bottom picture you can see. Okay. Here the pinnately compound leaf means a leaf which divided into smaller leaflets. Okay. When the leaf have smaller leaflets, then that is, we call it as a compound leaf. No. So the pinnately compound leaf, the leaf which is divided into smaller leaflets, those leaflets are arranged on the side of the central stalk. Okay. In the central stalk, okay, the leaflets are arranged to the central stalk. No, that central stalk we call it as a rachis. Okay, RACHIS. Okay, the leaflets are attached to this rachis, the main stalk. We call it as a rachis. Okay, that is pinnately compound leaves. Okay, the leaflets are the leaves divided into smaller leaflet. Then these leaflets are arranged on the each side of the rachis. We call it as a pinnately compound leaves. Okay, palmately compound leaf means the arrangement of these leaf, the each leaflets of these blades. Okay, the leaf blade divided in 5. Okay, you can see the leaf, the compound leaf that divided into leaflets. Okay, that each leaflet separated along the secondary vein. Okay, these leaflets are divided into secondary vein. Okay, these are radiating from the end of the petiole. From the end of the petiole, these leaves are radiating. Okay, so it looks like a palm. Okay, palm like your fingers, the hand, the palm, like they can divide it. Okay, that's why they are called it as a palmately compound leaf. Okay. From the petiole, these leaflets are attached. Okay. That is called as a palmately compound leaf. Okay. Junipinnate leaf means that is the pinnately compound. Okay. This is the junipinnate. Okay. They are the solitary. They are the solitary compound leaf with a row of leaves arranged along the side of a common rachis. Okay. This is the picture for the junipinnate. Okay. Okay. Here the solitary. Only the leaflets are attached along the rachis. Okay. That is junipinnate. Okay. Here the bottom side. Okay. The bipinnate. You can see the bipinnate mean here the compound leaves are themselves bipinnate. Okay. They can further divide it into 2 times they are divided. Okay. Okay. These compound leaves are twicely divided. That's why they call it as a bipinnate compound leaves. Dripinnate mean these leaflets are themselves bipinnate. Okay. This one leaflet further divided bipinnate. Okay. That is we call it as a ripinnate compound leaves. Okay. Here you can see the main axis we call it as a rachis. Okay. When the leaves are attached to the rachis, we call it as a junipinnate. Okay. But these leaves are again twicely pinnate. No. So the second axis we call it as the rachilla. Okay. So when the leaves are attached to the rachilla, then that is bipinnate. Okay. In the ripinnate, these bipinnate further divided. Okay. That is we call it as a tripinnate. Okay. The example for the junipinnate, that is the neem leaf. Okay. Neem leaf. Okay. Only the leaflets are arranged to the rachis. Okay. The bipinnate example is the mimosa. Okay. The mimosa plant. When we are touching that plant, then they are closing the leaves. Okay. That mimosa. Okay. Dripinnate. Moringa leaves. Okay. The moringa leaves. That is the example for the dripinnate. Okay. In the simple leaf, there is 3 category. Okay. The simple leaf and palmately lobed and pinnately lobed. Okay. Palmately lobed means leaf has leaflets, but they are not fully divided as a leaflet. Okay. In the picture, you can see they are not fully divided, but here you can see the palmately compound, the leaflets are fully divided from the main vein, but here they are attached. The leaflets are divided, but they are not separated. Okay. These leaflets are radiating outward from the end of this petiole. Okay. It's like a fingers of the palm. Okay. That's why they are called it as a palmately lobed. Same as the pinnately lobed, the leaflets are not divided. Okay. But here the pinnately compound, these leaflets are divided. Okay. And they have a own petiole. But here the leaflets are not divided. Then these leaves are called as a simple leaf. Okay. Because they are not divided into leaflets. No. So this is somewhat complicated for you. Okay. In the simple leaves, we can have the palmately lobed and the pinnately lobed. Okay, they are the two category. Here the leaflets are not divided fully. Okay, they are still attached to the that main vein. Okay, that's why they are come under the simple leaf. Okay, but in the compound leaf, these leaflets are fully separated and they are joined with their own petiole to the rachis. Okay, the main axis. Okay, junipinnate means the leaves. Okay, only the leaflets are directly attached to the rachis. Okay, in the bipinnate, these leaves are attached to the rachilla. Okay, in the ripinnate, these leaflets further bipinnate to form the ripinnate. The example is the moringa. The bipinnate, the example is the mimosa. Okay, in the above picture, okay, there is a odd pinnate and even pinnate. Okay, odd pinnate means the terminal, whether these terminal leaflets are present. Okay, you can see the terminal leaflets are present, then that call it as a odd pinnate. Okay, even pinnate, there is no terminal leaflet. Okay, that is the difference between the odd pinnate and the even pinnate. Okay, if the terminal leaves are present, then that is odd pinnate. The terminal leaves are absent, then that is even pinnate. Okay, so now you what the kind of leaves or types of leaves. Shall I move to next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we move to the leaf shapes. Okay, there are several shape of the leaves are there. Okay, here I mentioned some of the leaf shapes. Okay, so while you are seeing the leaf, you have to know the shape of the leaf. Okay, it may be acicular, linear, lanceolate, oval, ovate, obovate, cordate, obcordate. Okay, those are some leaf shapes. Okay, so your next practicals, the following practicals, you will study the families. Okay, so while we are studying the families, then we particularly study the leaf shape of that family. Okay, now you should know these are some leaf shapes. Okay, symmetrical and macronate. Okay, the oval, lanceolate. Okay, those are the some leaf shapes. Okay, and the next one, leaf apex. Okay, the tip of these leaves that also have some several category. Okay, acute, acuminate. Okay, obtuse, imaginate, truncated, macronate. Okay, those are some leaf apex. Okay, the tip of this leaf. Okay, okay, the next one is the leaf margin. Okay, okay, so this picture showing the margins of this lamina. Okay, serrate, entire, dentate, carinate, undulate. Okay, those are some teeth margin. Okay, in the serrate you can see the teeth-like structures. Okay, that is the serrate. Okay. Okay, the next one is the leaf bases. Okay, the oblique, cordate, okay, truncate, rounded, obtuse. Okay, those are some examples of these leaf bases. Okay, the base of these leaves. Okay, the next category, the texture of these leaves. Okay, we can describe this plant based on the surface texture. Okay, hairy. The leaves, some leaves have hairy structures. And glabrous mean the smooth. Okay, smooth leaves without hairs, we call it as the glabrous. And some leaves are waxy. Okay, the third picture, you can see the waxy leaves. Okay, and the fourth one, some leaves have the spine. Okay, and the next one is the venation. Okay, so how these veins are arranged in the leaves, we call it as venation. So under the venation, the reticulate, parallel, junicostate or multicostate. Okay, reticular venation means the arrangements of vein inner leaves where they are form a network. Okay, the web-like structures, the arrangements of vein inner leaves, they form a network or web-like structure. We call it as a reticulate venation. The arrangements of vein inner leaf where they are form a network or web-like structure. We call it as reticular venation. Okay, the second one is the parallel venation. Okay, parallel venation means when the formation of veins are parallel to each other throughout the leaf, these veins are parallel to each other, then we call it as a parallel venation. Okay, the third one is the junicostate. Okay, junicostate means they have only one primary midrib. Okay, junicostate leaf have only one primary midrib or prominent midrib is there. Okay, but the multicostate leaf have more than one midrib. Okay, they have more than one prominent midrib is there. Okay, that venation we call it as a multicostate. Okay, okay, the next one is the texture. Okay, based on the texture of the leaf, coriaceous. Coriaceous mean the leathery. The leaves are leathery. Okay, the less leathery appearance, they are tough. Okay, when you are touching the leaf, they are tough. Okay, so the leathery appearance, we call it as a coriaceous. And some leaves are plushy. Okay, and some are herbaceous. Okay, soft. Okay, some are succulent. Okay, the example is the aloe vera. Okay, succulent, they have a thick fleshy tissue. They are adapted to store the water. Okay, the succulent leaves are adapted to store the water. Okay, and based on the color, we can, the leaves normally they are green pigments. Okay, okay, this all about these leaves. So do you have any doubts regarding this leaf? Okay, if you have any doubts, let me know. Okay, That's all about the today's practical. Your next practical, you will continue the description of an angiosperm plant. Okay. The inflorescence and the other aspects. Okay. So, do you have any doubts or clarification regarding today's practical? You can leave a comment or you can ask. Okay. I will explain. You can comment on the today's practical. Okay. This is somewhat bulk for you because most of are new for you, no? So please study. Okay. You will familiar these words and these arrangements. Okay. While you are studying the following practicals. Okay. Don't worry about that. This stem modification and the root modification, those are somewhat important. Okay. Please concentrate on that one. Okay, I will give 5 minutes. You can comment on today's practical. Okay. Did you all understand or not?
Understood, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I will upload the presentation. Okay. No, okay. One of you asked that today the practical number 2 is finished. Okay, not okay. In your following practical. Okay, next Tuesday the continuation of this practical will take. Okay, the other the inflorescence part we will take. Okay, that also come under the practical too. One asks, should we draw the all pictures? Okay, you have to draw the important pictures. Okay, that leaf arrangements, leaf margin, leaf apexes, leaf bases. Okay, those are important. No, so when you are compare the leaf with the shape, then you have to draw in your book. Okay, the leaf shape, leaf margin, leaf apex, leaf bases, and leaf arrangements. And under the leaf arrangement, you have to write the examples also. Okay, so those are under the leaves. Okay, in the stem, you have to draw that stem modification. Okay, the rhizome, how these rhizomes and combs and bulbs, okay, the stole and offset, you have to draw the pictures. Okay, then only you should understand the definition. No, so for the root also, you have to draw the pictures for that respiratory root, prop root, aerial root, the conical, fusiform, napiform. Okay, you have to draw the pictures. Okay, then only you will understand while you are studying for your examination. Some of you ask, do we study the all leaf shapes and the leaf margins? Okay, some are important. Okay, so in your following practical, we are going to study the several important families under the angiosperm plant, okay? And that families, while we are describing this leaf part, then we will again explain the leaf about, so what is the leaf character of that family, okay? In that case, we again repeating the same thing. So at the time, you know, no, what are the leaf shape, what are the leaf margins are important, okay? So at the time, you will decide, okay? Now you have to draw the all pictures, okay? The following practicals you will know. So what are the serrate margin, okay? That is somewhat important. So while you are studying the following practical, you will know what are the leaf shapes and what are the leaf margins are important. You have to write the practical in this order, okay? From habitat, habit, root, stem, and leaf, okay? From next Tuesday, continuously you can write the inflorescence part also. So while you are writing the root, then under the modification, you have to draw the picture and write the example. Okay, you put the rhizomes, then you have to write first the definition. Okay, this is the underground stem modification. They are grow horizontally, and then you have to write the examples, the ginger and the turmeric. Then the side of your book, you have to draw that rhizome picture. So while you are studying for your examination, you will easily understand the chapter, no? That is the way of writing. Below the picture, below the title or the side of the title, you have to draw the picture.
Madam, is there any format to record this practical?
You can write your whatever the slide is there, okay? That way is okay. So some points I am discussed now. So you can write that explanation under the content, okay? So while you are writing the leaves, then you have to write the explanation under the leaf, okay? Or otherwise, you can write in the discussion part also, okay? So what did you prefer? Whether you write on that part or in the discussion part?
Under the particular part, ma'am.
Yeah, under the particular part you write, okay? So then only while you are studying for the examination, you will know, no? So better to write under that particular part, okay? So first complete the stem, then root, leaf. So while you are studying for the exam, that is easy to study, no? Okay. The time is gone. Okay. Thank you for the attention. Thank you very much. You can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.